Hey everyone, and welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be really digging into the life of Ratan Tata,
Yeah,
a true giant in Indian industry,
absolutely.
and someone whose legacy continues to resonate even after his recent passing.
For sure. Yeah,
So, you sent over this article,
I did.
and it struck me that Ratan Tata's story, it's really tailor-made for one of our deep dives.
It really is. His life was just remarkable, so much to unpack.
Yeah, talk about a legacy. I mean, where do we even
It was
begin?
interesting you mentioned legacy because I think what sets him apart is how his influence extends far beyond just leading a single company.
Right.
Ratan Tata, he really guided the entire Tata Group through a period of immense transformation in India.
He did, and while doing that,
Exactly.
he always seemed to prioritize this deep sense of social responsibility.
Yeah, he wasn't just interested in profits, he wanted to uplift society as a whole.
Absolutely. So let's rewind a bit for those who might not be as familiar with this story.
Okay.
The article really zeroed in on his time as chairman of the Tata Group.
Right.
From 1991 to 2012.
Right. A pivotal time for India.
Yeah, that wasn't just any other period in India's history, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Imagine India kind of bursting onto the global stage during those years. Embracing globalization technology was taking off,
Right.
and Ratan Tata was leading the charge.
It's remarkable when you think about it.
It really is.
The article specifically highlights Tata Teleservices and the Tata Consultancy Services IPO.
Right?
So, was he just really good at sort of predicting the tech trends, or was there something more to it?
It was strategic genius. Really, think about it. Those weren't just savvy business decisions in a vacuum.
Okay.
They positioned the Tata Group at the forefront of India's growth trajectory. I mean, TCS, as most know it today, became a global powerhouse in IT.
Yeah.
And that's not by accident. That's foresight.
Wow. So he wasn't just playing the game, he was shaping the whole playing field.
Exactly. He understood that business decisions have ripple effects across society and the economy.
That's fascinating.
And that ability to connect the dots, to see the bigger picture, that's a real hallmark of his leadership.
It makes you wonder what shaped that worldview.
Yeah,
you know?
it does, doesn't it?
Before we dive into that, though,
Yeah,
the article mentions Tata Teleservices.
right.
For those who might not know,
Sure.
what did they actually do?
Imagine the early 90s mobile phones were just starting to become popular.
Okay.
Tata Teleservices was a pioneer in bringing telecommunications to the masses in India.
Oh,
They weren't just selling phones, they were connecting people across vast distances, bridging the gap between rural and urban areas.
okay.
It was a communication revolution, and Tata was right there at the helm.
That's incredible. It adds another layer to his impact, doesn't it?
It does.
He wasn't just running businesses, he was changing how people communicated.
Exactly.
So now about that worldview,
Yes.
the article hints at his early life playing a role.
Okay.
What can you tell us about those early experiences that might have shaped his approach to business and leadership?
Well, for starters, he didn't just inherit the top job, he had to earn it.
Oh, really?
Ratan Tata had to prove himself, work his way up through different parts of the Tata Group.
Wow.
He learned the business from the ground up, and this was during a time of significant change in India political economic upheaval,
Right.
which likely gave him a unique perspective on the challenges and opportunities the country faced.
Yeah, it sounds like those experiences really laid the groundwork for him to lead the Tata Group through that era of globalization and technological change we were just talking about.
They do.
But what's really amazing to me is how he managed to balance this incredible business acumen with this deep commitment to social causes.
It's an unusual combination
It is.
to find in one person.
It's not something you always see in titans of industry.
Yeah.
So we have to dive into that side of him next because it's truly remarkable.
It really is.
You know, it's funny, when I think of a business leader, someone as successful as Ratan Tata Philanthropy isn't exactly the first thing that pops into my head.
They're not usually what they're known for.
Yeah, but this article really dives into his dedication to social causes.
It's pretty remarkable.
It really is, and it goes way back, too. It wasn't just something he picked up later in life.
No, you're right. It seems to be a core part of who he was.
Like his work with the Aga Khan Hospital and Medical College project that dates back to the 1970s.
Exactly. Even before his time at the helm of Tata Sons.
That's incredible dedication.
It speaks volumes.
So for those of us who might not be as familiar with the Tata Trusts, I'll admit I didn't fully grasp their scope before reading this.
Sure.
What can you tell us about them and their impact?
Think of the Tata Trust as this network of philanthropic organizations with almost a century of history,
Wow.
deeply intertwined with the Tata Group itself.
Yeah.
But here's the key. They're not just about writing checks.
Okay.
They're tackling major issues in India poverty, healthcare, education head on.
Wow.
We're talking about driving real systemic change, and under Ratan Tata's leadership, they became a force to be reckoned with in the world of philanthropy.
It really makes you think about legacy, doesn't it? I mean, he could have easily just focused on the business side of things,
Right.
but he chose to invest his time, his resources in these social causes.
And it wasn't just charity work. It was about using his influence to make a lasting impact.
Exactly. And, it's interesting. You can actually see this thread of social responsibility woven through many of his business decisions as well.
Absolutely. Think about Tata Teleservices. Yes, it was a smart business move, but it also brought communication access to millions of people,
Right.
bridging those gaps, fostering social connection.
So it's like his vision for business was always intertwined with social good.
Precisely, he understood that true progress encompasses more than just economic growth.
It's really remarkable, but we'd be remiss if we didn't address the elephant in the room. The article mentions the leaked phone calls and the whole AirAsia lobbying scandal.
Right, a bit of a controversial chapter.
Yeah, can you unpack that for us? Because it feels like uncharted territory for someone like Ratan Tata.
So to give you some context, this scandal exploded in 2010. It revolved around these leaked phone conversations involving AirAsia, a corporate lobbyist who worked with a number of high-profile clients, including the Tata Group.
Okay.
And these conversations, they hinted at potential influence peddling and raised serious concerns about corporate lobbying practices in India.
And how did Ratan Tata factor into all of this?
Well, because of Radia's connection to the Tata Group, he was inevitably drawn into the controversy.
I see.
However, and this is important, he was never found guilty of any wrongdoing.
Yeah.
The scandal really had a much broader impact on public perception of corporate lobbying and its potential to undermine fair play.
Right. So while he wasn't charged, it still kind of casts a shadow.
It does. It raises those ethical questions.
It makes you think about that fine line that leaders, especially those in positions of power, often have to walk.
Absolutely. It reminds us that even the most respected figures can get caught in the crossfire, and it forces us to examine the intersection of business, politics, and ethics.
It's a lot to unpack. But speaking of navigating complex situations, let's shift gears a bit and talk about Ratan Tata's life after he stepped down as chairman.
Okay.
Because the article makes it clear he didn't exactly retire to a life of leisure.
No, not at all.
I mean, after a career like his, most people would just want to kick back, relax, enjoy the fruits of their labor.
I know, right?
But this article shows us that he wasn't wired that way at all.
Not even close.
It's like he shifted gears instead of hitting the brakes in retirement.
A perfect way to put it.
So he officially became chairman emeritus.
Right. A title that really speaks for itself
It does.
in terms of the respect he commanded within the Tata Group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just an honorary title, was it?
Oh, no, not at all. He was still very much engaged. He poured his energy into supporting a new generation of entrepreneurs.
This is what I find so fascinating about him. He just couldn't stop looking ahead.
He always had his eye on the future.
The article mentions he invested over 30 startups.
That's incredible.
Ola, Electric, Paytm, Snapdeal.
He had a knack for picking winners.
He really did. It's like he could sense the future of Indian business. What do you think drew him to these specific companies? Were there any common threads?
I think he was drawn to companies that had the potential to truly transform India.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at Ola Electric, for instance. They're tackling the EV market in a country that's grappling with pollution and reliance on fossil fuels.
Right.
Paytm revolutionized digital payments, which is huge in a country that's rapidly moving away from cash.
It's like he was placing bets on a future he believed in.
Exactly. These weren't just about making money. These were about driving positive change.
It's inspiring to see that kind of foresight.
It is.
And it really speaks to his legacy, extending far beyond just the Tata Group itself.
Absolutely. By supporting these startups, he wasn't just building businesses, he was building an entire ecosystem, ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship in India.
And that's a legacy that's going to last for generations.
For sure.
Amidst all the talk about business and social impact, there's this small detail in the article that really stuck with me.
Okay.
Apparently, Ratan Tata had this huge soft spot for stray dogs.
I love that story.
He even let them shelter at Tata HQ.
It's such a humanizing detail.
It is. It's like this glimpse behind the curtain of this titan of industry.
Right.
To reveal this really compassionate side.
It shows that even the most successful, driven people have these simple acts of kindness in them.
It really does. And in a way, it feels very much in line with his whole philosophy, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, caring about people, caring about animals, caring about making the world a better place.
It's a beautiful way to sum up his legacy.
It really is.
Well, this has been an incredible journey.
It has.
I feel like we've uncovered so much more than just business achievements.
We've only just scratched the surface.
We've seen his dedication to philanthropy, his ability to navigate those really complex situations, and even his love for dogs.
He was a complex and fascinating figure.
He really was. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of awe, honestly.
Me
Ratan Tata was one of a kind, and his impact will continue to be felt for generations to come.
Without a doubt.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Ratan Tata.
It was my pleasure.
And if you're as captivated by his story as we are, we encourage you to learn more about his remarkable life and work.
There's a lot out there to explore.
Until next time, everyone,